the journey of how it all started to where it's landing. Nee? So it
Yeah.
started with the Tokelau Dictionary project, but before the project actually started, Nola Momoe Tokelau and asked permission. Nee?
Raising that.
Yeah,
Thank you for raising that aspect that we did work with the um, government of Tokelau
that's right.
to make sure everything was appropriate and
Yeah,
above board,
yeah,
and there were also other partners in our work that um, helped out with the outcomes.
yeah. I think it's important kay loma tatou kāinga Tokelau that the ngalowenga the Tokelau dictionary was not just random group of people in Aloha. You actually went through a process and you actually asked for permission. Te kāmata te ngalowenga, and yeah, they agreed. The other thing too,
It's
the ngā
so
PhD,
just the inspiration of you
Mm.
talking about these studies would inspire not only the younger ones, but like me, but my generation as well. Because we could easily say, "Oh, no, we're too old. We're nanas now," but you inspire me. Though you say you've retired, and yet you spoke about the kupu tuhunga and you went to look for the dictionary because you're still writing. And I'm thinking to myself, she's still studying, and that's a huge inspiration for people like myself to be able to know that, hey, you're never too old to be able to get out there and help our people with the studies that you do, because it's like, man, it's my cup could be filled with just you speaking tonight,
mm,
with the knowledge of what
Thank
you've
you.
got and
mm,
how you share. But it's very interesting that it had to take a Tokelau dictionary to bring all the candidates, the qualified academic
Mm.
candidates in together. And because I also have been part of the journey of the Tokelau Bible, and a lot of them have been our elders and the ministers getting together. And I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe the PhD candidates could also contribute, but now we're going to get it all printed out anyway. But it's just interesting to hear. I mean, you're talking about the dictionary needing to be revised. And I'm thinking, does that mean our words from the generation of my grandparents are different to the generation now? It's very interesting to be able to hear all of that, um, knowing that we could still learn from you
mm, mm,
about
mm,
Yeah.
mm. No, no,
Yeah, things have changed in the last 50 years. Oh my goodness, we have an entirely new vocabulary with
yeah,
technology.
yeah,
Yeah. And for many languages,
yeah.
um, many native languages, we lack the
Mm,
um, uniformity of, you know, a a language that, we can just grab onto, you
mm,
know. And so we really do need that revision. And not only that, there are words missing because, there were only a few people working in the original
yes,
1987 printing.
yes.
And and they, with the amount of people working with the time they have, I am just very, very happy that they left this amazing work
Yeah,
for for us,
yes.
and so it's their legacy that we will be working on,
Mm,
when we do the revision work.
mm,
Um, and it's a needed work.
mm,
But again, that's something for a different conversation.
mm, mm. So from the Tokelau Dictionary project, the vision, the get together or the gathering of the PhD candidates promoting their work on Zoom, the Talanoanga Zoom, and that's how it led from that to the Zoom Talanoangani because I remember it was every month, all last year, wasn't it? Every month there were Tokelau candidates, the PhD candidates, talking about their work and highlighting their work and the support that they needed. And so, you're right about that. I think the community need to understand once you get into this type of work, whether you're doing your master's or your PhD, please be patient with us. We have to go away, focus on this, and we will gathering that's happening next month. What makes this gathering unique, and why is it so important for Tokelau scholars?
So before we get to that, I'd like to just acknowledge Dr. Melanie Puka. Bean is her married name now, but she managed to gain some funding from her division at the University of Utah that made this gathering possible. And so I wanted to acknowledge her. Mahalo, and thank you very much, Melanie, and the University of Utah. But so the there are many reasons why this gathering is unique. First of all, this is the first time I think that this has ever happened. I mean, for many years, we didn't even have PhDs in our community, right? So having 3 or 4 and then another 5 working on their dissertations, it's we can see that the Tokelau community in the diaspora is evolving, right? Its children are not satisfied with the knowledge that they've gained from, the typical formal schools. They need more than that. They need to understand more why things are the way they are. Why are Pacific Islanders, including Tokelauans, suffering such high rates of illnesses, diabetes, heart problems, you name it, in a place like New Zealand, where the healthcare system, is some of the best in the world. And this is including the United States. We have these issues with the Native communities. Why is that a problem? And why is delivering, the best medical health care there is to these people not successful? And so, a great example of this is Dr. Tuisano's work on spotlighting the serious gaps in the New Zealand government's Western informed delivery of healthcare for Pacifica people, and especially Tokelau, which was the focus groups that she worked with in Aotearoa. And so Dr. Tuisano's work educates academia as well as the medical experts on the importance of understanding Tokelauans and understanding the values that help them, that inform their decision making. And so Dr. Tuisano looks at the value of Ma'apopo and its role in the decision making and care management of the kainga for their sick patients. She concludes that the medical experts making decisions for our people, they have to understand this and become partners with the kainga if they want their care delivery system to be successful. Because otherwise, it's a waste of money, right? You try and try and try this, it's not working. Why? Because you are not dealing with just one person in the Tokelau community. You're dealing with the whole family, right? So these are some of this is one work that I look at that makes it like so critically important for the New Zealand government, for people in Aotearoa, in the medical system, to understand um, how Tokelau people think and the values behind what informs their decision making, what's best for them. So um, this is just one example of work that spotlights some of the symptoms, um, social symptoms of what's happening with people in the Pacific, Anapa, with when he looks at um, sports and its relationship to the well-being of peoples. Um, uh, you also have uh, Kupa, who has worked in the health sector for 35 years. And probably his family and the community knows that, but they don't know that his writing on the lived experiences of New Zealand resettlement scheme, how important understanding that and the settlement, how the family settled into communities, um, how that informs um, the lives of the people, the Tokelau people that live in Aotearoa. And he looks at, like all of our works, you know, we find all of this information, we try to manage understanding it and how to put it together to, um, you know, to inform ongoing uh, efforts to improve the well-being of society, of humans, of the environment, of this planet, you know, that we all live on, and, you know, how we need to take care of it. And otherwise, you know, we're not going to have a place to live. Um, so much of this work being done um, by Tokelau scholars not only bring the Tokelau voice, uh, Tokelau diaspora voices to academia, but also to the fields that they are working in. You know, I'm hoping that Dr. Panapa's work, for example, you know, makes some difference in educating the system of, you know, that comes together for the rugby league. I mean, yeah, it's a capitalist venture, right? Their primary goal is to profit, to make money. And who are they using to make money? They're using human beings. And we know that Pacifica peoples are very important, play very important roles in this capitalist system of rugby. So I'm hoping, and so does Dr. Panapa, that this information, his research, can inform some, you know, improvements in the relationships between the league itself and its players, not just Tokelauans, but its players. And I love how he looks at how Tokelau families use Tokelauan values to navigate and to heal themselves and their children, their players, from the ill effects of this capitalist venture called the rugby league. Um, I I hope that answers some of your question, because these are some of the things we'll be sharing, right? Um, it's also important to have those letters by your name, right? Like Sania Fa'amaile Betty P. PhD. You don't know how important that is when you're writing a grant and the funders look at the people in this grant and see the PhD or doctor or JD. You know, it carries weight in a Western society. It makes them feel comfortable that, okay, we're going to give money to this group who seems like they have the expertise to do what they're because they have letters,
Mm.
right? So I know that's a very transactional way to look at education. But you know what? That's a fact of life.
Yep.
And that's fine with me. And in
Yep.
fact, it's one of the main reasons, one of the other reasons why I pursued a PhD. Um, I wanted people to listen to what I was saying, hey, look at the letters. I know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Listen to me. What I have to say is important. And uh, getting a Tokelau voice in the education system, uh, getting Tokelau values in the education system, that's important too. So this is an important event. And I'm hoping also that by coming together, these scholars will also learn from each other,
Mm.
network for future collaborations. Um, there's many more benefits to such an event and such a gathering.
Positive. I think it's a positive benefit of using the title for the benefit of the people that have been involved in the community, and now they've had to isolate themselves to pursue this and it wasn't for themselves. It wasn't for yourselves, need Professor. It was for the people, for our Tokelau people. So I'm glad you brought that up, Professor, because I totally agree with you. Ria, would you like to add anything to
Yeah. And
Ramona?
yeah, it is very interesting. I mean, because obviously we all grow up in different upbringings. There's families with different priorities. But even when you were saying that you add that initial and you add the letters to your name, it shows people that you've worked hard.
Yeah.
Well, this is nothing that you can just go down to the courthouse, apply for, get stamped, and then your name is there. This is something that you've worked for many years, and some people have studied all the way up to 7 years, and that's a long time when you're thinking about it. I mean, it's good seeing some of our young ones now graduating from university, you know, but you and all these PhD graduates have gone further than just the university. And it just goes to show our people that just because we come from a little tiny atoll doesn't mean we can't do big things as everyone else does. We just need to have more of us, which is why what you do is very inspiring. And I needed to think about when you said that those who go for this actually needs to isolate themselves. And I had to think about it and think, yeah, no, there were times when I would find out where Dr. Tuisano was, and she was always at the university. And it's like, yeah, sometimes you just need to go away to know what you need to get the inati from somewhere else and bring it around back to our people, change it in the way that our people would understand, and then share it that way. So I've been part of this talanoa, and I've been so excited every time we go on it. I always ask my husband, please remind me because I need to jump on, because I love how different the assessments or the studies that you have, every single one of you have done, and they've just come from different aspects. But while you were talking today and I was looking at the candidates and what they had been studying, I thought, oh, I can be the first one that knows more about the religion of the Pacifica and how it started. I mean, because I hear about Hakaoho, where my mum comes, and I'm probably related to you, Professor. When I think about where my mum comes from and how they said that there was a God in the middle of Hakaoho that the people used to go and worship, and I used to think, wow, how did that even start? So I just sit here with my thoughts, but having someone who has PhD would have studied, go and seek advice from the elders, go and get the wisdom from the elders, and then bring it back. And it's just very inspiring. And when you're saying that sometimes you need to isolate yourself, yeah, I think when I have to study to preach, I have to isolate myself for almost 3 months, just so then I'm able to deliver what I've learned to the people, and that's exactly the same as what you all have done, and yeah, it's very inspiring. I say to you, Professor and Ruth, watch this
You
space.
know, thank you for saying that about the isolation.
Yeah.
You know, I also have to say that I started my college career when I was, I think, in my 40s. You know, I had a whole career before this. And you know, the company left the islands and my family refused to move to another relocation in the continent. And so I was, you know, I'd always wanted to go back to school and finish my degree because I had dropped out when I was, you know, 18 years old. I thought I knew better, right? Um, so I went back to college and I already had three children. And I had a husband. We were taking care of mom here at the house. And I have to give so much credit to the family that
Mm,
supported my educational. You know, as I said, you know, you can't isolate yourself and leave your kids out in the living room to watch TV all day, right? Somebody has to be nurturing them, somebody has to do the cooking, take them to school, pick them up, bring them home. So um, I have to, you know, thank the families, not just
mm,
mine, but for all the scholars,
mm,
because I know what you went through when you had to, you know, begin writing and
mm,
making sense of your research and, you know, that deadline that your committee has for you. You've got to meet that deadline. And that
mm,
only way you do that is if you leave all other responsibilities, which somebody else has to now take care of. So I
mm.
had to mention that because our families are so much a part of this journey. You
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
they have to be
Yeah.
credited.
Big ups to our guy and even friends who understand the academic journey that you're going through and the support that they too give while you're going through your journey. Very much, Professor, for sharing the background of where how it all started.